spend so much energy thinking the problem is us that we just lack motivation.
Right.
We tell ourselves, if I just wanted this enough, or, if I just waited for that perfect moment, then I'd finally get it done.
And we just
We
wait.
wait for this, like, mythical surge of willpower to just sweep us into action.
And that waiting, well, that's the trap, isn't it? It's almost never a lack of wanting. The real issue is a lack of clarity.
So these foggy goals, like, I'm going to eat healthier.
Or I want to be more productive.
Yeah.
They're just destined to fail because you're leaving the actual action
Yeah.
up to chance, up to how you feel that day.
So if the problem isn't the drive, it's the definition, then what's the fix? Because the desire can feel incredibly strong, but the follow-through still feels like this, I don't know, constant internal battle.
Well, we stop relying on those internal feelings. We start leveraging external triggers instead.
Okay.
The whole solution is about transforming that vague idea, I want to exercise more, into a really concrete plan of action. And the two most common triggers for us are simply time and location.
You anchor it to the real world.
Exactly. If we can nail those down, we build the scaffold that holds the habit up no matter what our mood is.
Okay, so let's unpack that. There's a strategy for this, right? Something called an implementation intention.
Yes. It's basically a way of preloading the decision so there's no decision left to make when the moment arrives.
You're making a plan beforehand about when and where you're going to act.
It's an instruction manual for your future self. It cuts out all that mental back and forth, that negotiation that always happens when you're trying to start something new.
The general format is something like, when situation X happens, I will do Y.
That's it. And the evidence for this is it's staggering.
Yeah, the research behind it is what's so compelling. We're not talking about small improvements here.
No, not at all. We have to talk about that 2001 study from Great Britain. They took 248 people who wanted to build an exercise habit over 2 weeks.
And they split them into 3 groups, right?
The first was the control group. They were just asked to track how often they exercised.
Simple enough.
And the second group, the motivation group, they got all this information. They read about all the amazing health benefits of exercise, how it reduces disease risk, boosts mental health, everything.
So they were properly fired up.
They were highly motivated, but they were also just asked to track their progress.
And the outcome for both of those groups was
Almost identical. Only about 35 to 38% of people in either group managed to exercise at least once a week.
So all that motivational material focusing on the why had basically no real impact.
None. And that, right there, is the key insight. It shows that just knowing the benefits, just feeling motivated, is often useless without a clear plan.
Okay, so what about the third group?
So the third group, the planning group, they got the exact same motivational presentation, but they were also asked to fill out one simple sentence.
The implementation intention.
That's it. They had to write down, during the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on day at time and place.
And their results?
91%.
91. That is an unbelievable leap.
It more than doubled the success rate.
Just from defining the time and the place, what is going on there cognitively that makes such a massive difference? It feels almost too simple.
It's all about eliminating decision fatigue. When your goal is vague, I want to work out, every single day you have to make a new set of decisions. When should I do it? Where? Do I feel like it right now?
And that just drains your willpower.
Completely. By defining it beforehand, you short-circuit that whole process. When Monday at 6 p.m. arrives, the decision is already made. Your brain just sees it as a cue to act, not a time to negotiate.
So the immediate takeaway for anyone listening is to stop waiting for inspiration and just adopt that formula. I will behavior at time and location.
And the specificity is everything. It can't be, I'll read in the evenings. It has to be external and measurable.
So something like, I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen.
Perfect. Or, I will study Spanish for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. in my bedroom. The moment the clock hits 6, there's no ambiguity. You just do it.
It's also worth pointing out that picking a fresh start can help, right? Like the first of the month or a Monday.
Absolutely. Hope and commitment are generally higher at those psychological turning points, so it's a good time to launch something new.
But what happens when life gets in the way? That initial strategy relies so much on time, but schedules can be chaotic. If 6 p.m. isn't always reliable, how do you anchor a new habit?
That's a fantastic question, and it takes us to the next level of clarity. The reason time can sometimes fail is because, well, No behavior ever happens in a vacuum.
Mm.
Our options are always chained together. Each thing we do becomes a cue for the next thing. We can actually see the power of this on the negative side first.
You're talking about the Diderot effect, I assume, the
Ah,
philosopher?
exactly. Dennis Diderot, he was living a pretty simple life, and then Catherine the Great bought his library, giving him this huge windfall.
And he immediately bought a beautiful scarlet robe.
A magnificent robe. But as soon as he brought it home, he looked around at his old stuff, his worn-out rug, his straw chair, and suddenly none of it fit. He felt this powerful urge to upgrade everything to match the robe.
It created this consumer spiral. He replaced the rug, bought sculptures, a new leather chair.
That's the Diderot effect. It's a negative chain reaction where one new thing creates a spiral of related consumption. It shows this incredible behavioral momentum. One action triggers the next.
So how do we take that same powerful force and use it for something beneficial, like flossing or meditating?
We just flip the script. We use that same chain reaction tendency to our advantage through something called habit stacking.
Which was popularized by B.J. Fogg at Stanford, right?
That's right. Instead of relying on an arbitrary time on the clock, you leverage the momentum of a habit that's already completely ingrained in your life.
So you're attaching the new habit to an old one that you already do without thinking.
Precisely. The formula is a little different, but it's still an implementation intention.
Yeah.
After current habit, new habit.
It feels more seamless that way.
It does. Let's say you want to meditate for 1 minute. Instead of saying at 7 a.m., you might say,
After I pour my cup of coffee each morning, I will meditate for 1 minute.
perfect. The coffee is the cue. It's something you already do without fail.
Or for exercise, something like, after I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes.
Yes. You're not even promising to work out. You're just promising to put on the clothes. You're building these little neural pathways that link one action to the next.
And once you get that down, you can start building bigger chains, a sort of positive Diderot effect.
You can create these huge positive routines. For example, if your solid cue is finishing dinner.
You could build a whole cleanup and prep routine from that one anchor.
Exactly. After I finish dinner, I will put my plate in the dishwasher. After I put my plate away, I will wipe down the counter. After I wipe the counter, I will set out my coffee mug for tomorrow.
You're stacking cleanliness on top of preparation, all triggered by one event.
And that level of clarity also helps you say no to things. If you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing next, it's a lot easier to turn down a distraction. Your plan is concrete, not vague.
Which brings us to the biggest reason this can still fail, right?
Yeah.
Ambiguity. Even
Yeah.
with stacking.
Yes. The cue has to be incredibly specific. I think there was an example of someone who tried the stack. When I take a break for lunch, I will do 10 push-ups.
Sounds good on paper.
But it fell apart.
Yeah.
Because when exactly is take a break? Before you eat? After? Where do you do them? It's too vague.
So the fix was to make it hyper-specific.
The fix was, when I close my laptop for lunch, I will do 10 push-ups next to my desk. The closing of the laptop is an instant, undeniable cue. No room for negotiation.
So when you're choosing your cue, your current habit, there are two critical checks you need to run,
Yes, 2 fundamental rules. The first is frequency match.
which just means the cue has to happen as often as you want the new habit to happen.
Right. You can't stack a daily habit, like taking a vitamin, onto a habit that only happens on Mondays, like taking out the trash. The frequencies have to match.
And the second check is about the environment.
It's the success environment check. You have to pick a time and place where you're actually likely to succeed. If your mornings are total chaos with kids and dogs, that's a terrible time to try and stack a new meditation habit.
So you'd be better off stacking it on something like arriving home from work when things are calmer.
Precisely. You have to be realistic about your environment.
What's so interesting is that all of this, the implementation intentions, the habit stacking, it's all in service of the very first law of behavior change.
It is. These are just practical, concrete strategies to make it obvious. You're giving your habits a specific time and a physical space to live in the world.
You're shifting the entire burden from this unreliable thing called motivation onto fixed external cues.
And eventually, with enough repetition, the urge becomes almost unconscious. You start to feel that antsiness right around the time you're supposed to act.
Like Pavlov's dog hearing the bell. The cue itself starts to trigger the urge.
The environment becomes the command.
So for anyone listening, maybe the thing to do is to forget the big, vague goal of being better for a minute. Just look at your day. What is one? Just one. rock solid, non-negotiable cue that already exists.
Mm.
It could be closing your front door when you get home, or pouring that first cup of coffee, or even just brushing your teeth. What is one of those automatic behaviors that you can use starting right now to make your next beneficial action totally unavoidable? That's where the real work begins.